So hello to everyone who has joined in. We are just about waiting for another minute or two till rest of our friends join, and then we are ready to go. Okay, I think let's start. So hello and a very, very, very good evening to each one of you. Thank you so much for joining in, and I'm fully excited. I'm sure so are you for this rocking program on our mental health, on mental wellness. And especially we chose this topic because we thought that it's the first thing of a human being, if treated correctly, can really help us get into miraculous kind of adventures, journey. A success story is then formulated. So that is the reason we thought of this topic. And I am Jaya Obhan. I am the founder of Power Up, and I'm bringing you today two brilliant speakers with us who are going to enrich your lives completely. And you're going to maybe thank me for this later. You can do that, no problem. My first guest is Alok Taunk. I will not describe him much. I would like him to talk about himself. Let's go to Alok. Alok, please tell us something about yourself. Please introduce yourself.
Sure, Jaya. First of all, Jaya, thank you very much. I'd like to appreciate your efforts and your initiative of coming up with this Power Up session. I'm sure there's so many entrepreneurs and businessmen who are really benefiting out of this, the sheer amount of knowledge that is bred on this platform. So thank you very much for that. And also, I'd like to extend my gratitude for having me as a speaker on this platform. Also, it's really great to connect with Riddhi as well. I would also like to invite all our viewers. Thank you guys for joining in. Thank you for investing your time and energy. And I'm sure that you will take away a lot of value post this session. So Jaya, I come from a corporate background. So I'm a mindfulness coach, a meditation teacher, and we connect with organizations. It's mental health, it's what we advocate. We work with organizations on national and international level as their wellness coach. And basically, this all comes from a personal experience because I come from a corporate background, wherein after working for almost around 15 odd years with various different organizations, what I was able to see is there are certain common behavioral and emotional patterns which people went through. And unfortunately, this behavioral and emotional patterns were negative in terms of stress, anxiety, uncertainty, insecurity. When I was working in organizations, I was able to see my bosses, my colleagues, my team members, my clients as well. They were going through these negative emotional patterns. Even I fell prey to many such incidents, but somewhere I really think that I've been lucky because right from the age of 15, I'm practicing certain self-enhancement and self-enrichment practices, which have really helped me to hold myself tight, to anchor myself, to align my mental, emotional, spiritual, physical growth, and to take things in a positive, light. And I seriously thought, Jaya, that, if things have really helped me, they can help everyone. Because if you see biologically, physiologically, and psychologically, we are structured in almost the similar manner. It all depends on how we take it further from there. So I thought if things have positively worked in my life, they can positively work in others as well. And that's where I started connecting with my customers, my clients, and my bosses, my team members. And I was able to find some kind of positive outcome in their behavior as well. They were benefited. That's when I thought that, I should take this on a larger scale because there are so many people out there in going through their entrepreneurial journey in the corporate segment who really need mental wellness and mental fitness. So that's where we came up with Eastern Mindfulness as a platform. We call Eastern Mindfulness as a scientific platform because we have gone through various tests in terms of EEGs and MRIs and fMRIs in order to understand the neurological process, in order to understand the brain waves, how our mind works, how our brain works, and how can we be more productive and persistent towards our growth. So, there's so many scientific factors to understand, and that's what we integrate in Eastern Mindfulness. And it has really been a good journey. As of now, we are working with various organizations nationally and internationally, helping them out with this. And so this is what comes from a personal experience and a passion. So that's what we are doing right now. And today, I'm really happy to connect with Power Up because it is mental wellness, because it is mental health. And I think that mental wellness, mental health is something which is really important and needs to be on the top of the shelf, especially when we are going through some difficult times and crises. And who would have thought of COVID-19 hitting so hard on our faces. But as of now, going through these problems, going through this ups and downs and thicks and thins of life, I guess mental health and mental wellness is the priority that we need to have in our lives. So that's one of my motivation to come and join on this platform. So once again, I'd like to extend my gratitude and thank you for making me a part of this platform.
Absolutely. We are, I mean, so looking forward to this. Thank you. Thank you so much for accepting my invitation to
My
join here.
pleasure. Completely
And
my
yes,
pleasure.
it is very important that entrepreneurs concentrate on every aspect of their personality, of their well-being, of their skill development, so that they can do business better, so that they can have business relationship as well as no other relationships better, because that is one thing which really takes a person to the next level. And with
Very
that,
true.
now I want to introduce my dear friend, a beautiful person who really knows how to, change the algorithms and she knows how to bring people to the right state of mind. So, Riddhi, you want me to say more or you'll now continue?
No, no, I'll continue. Thank you, Jaya. Thank you so much for having me here. And it's a pleasure to be talking and, getting interviewed or getting in discussion with you. Thank you so much. Um, Talking about me, I belong to a family full of entrepreneurs. So I have seen how their life has been, entrepreneurs, they have a lot of ups and downs. So people, grass is greener on the other side. People who are into, so like I'm married to a family wherein everybody is into jobs. So I have seen both the cultures. For entrepreneurs, they feel that okay, it's good to be in a job, while in people who are into job feel that okay, it's good to be an entrepreneur, you have so much liberties. But there are many reasons why people choose the path of entrepreneurship, and it's kind of freedom to create your own routine, ability to work on a lot of projects. uh, I I'm a child psychologist, a practicing child psychologist, a dance movement therapy practitioner, and I advocate mental wellness for children, young entrepreneurs, and women. I have been working in this space since last 15 years now, and I successfully run my venture for women that's called Lajja. Who better than you know about Lajja,
Yes,
Jaya?
I know it.
Yeah. So I always feel that, and I have seen entrepreneurs breaking down. I have seen them reviving and coming back to the normal state, fighting back. And the situation which we have facing in this last 2.5 months is the scenario which probably is going to be a case study for lifetime for the entrepreneurs. Yeah, because there are few of them who have actually revived. Therefore, few of them who are struggling, and there are few of them who have just said no, right? So there are multiple case study that's going to like post this COVID is going to lay example for the future entrepreneurs on a larger scale. And I have in this 2.5 months come across a lot of people, a lot of women entrepreneurs, a lot of young entrepreneurs, where I saw that their mental wellness, their mental health, I would say not wellness, but their mental health was on stake. And that's how when we were talking, it's where I full-heartedly accepted this invitation of yours, Joya, because I wanted to reach out to people and make them understand why it is important to look after your mental health um, during difficult times, during crisis, and not putting it at the last priority in your life.
Yes, yes, that's so true. So, with that, do you think, because you are talking so much about COVID and crisis, and so many people I'm sure have reached out to you for, services to come into the right state of mind, do you think it would have helped any better if people were in revival mode instead of just, wanting to be surviving and just struggling with the day to day life? And I mean, survival mode versus revival mode, what would be your take?
Obviously revival mode, Chaya, because being an entrepreneur, the day you get into the world of entrepreneurship,
Yeah.
you get into you have a fighting spirit. So this crisis shouldn't be stopping you to fight back. What personally, as a mental wellness or advocating mental wellness, I strongly say this statement. The reason being, when you are surviving, it means that you've lost hope. that you feel that it's okay if it doesn't work or if it works. So there is dual things that is happening, there are dual thoughts that's happening in your mind. But I will always propagate, or I will always support somebody who's into revival mode, because you wanted to enter the world of entrepreneurship, and revival is the only thing which you can do. And
Yes.
that's so beautiful and better, right? So, yes, talk it out. There are few things few suggestions, few tips for all those people who would like to revive, or who for whom it's still not that late, or who are not thinking that whether I should or I should not. Come on, get back to on your toes, because it's a revival mode for you now. The lockdown has opened and everything, the world is all yours now. But yes, be safe. So there are a few tips which I feel, as a advocate to mental wellness for young entrepreneurs, I strongly feel that the entrepreneur needs to talk out the feelings. They need to be really active when it comes to their physical health and mental health. We have Alok who's going to talk about the mental health, so I'm not going to discuss much about it. But yes, physical health works wonders. Now, these problems do happen. Why? Because we entrepreneurs are constantly loaded with work. We feel that we are responsible for every decision that we take, or we take the heavy burden of that. There is somewhere, if the structure is missing, yes, stress is going to happen. Somewhere there's a forced sense of positivity which you tend to give it to yourself. Yes, that's going to give you stress, because it's okay to think negative sometimes. But how do you work? Be aware and be mindful about that negativity and get yourself into the positivity zone is all up to you. Yes, finances might, kind of give you stress. And your identity. Many of us tend to think about what will happen, what will people think about me, and you get into that so-called, uh, you know, assumption of judgmental space. You assume that people will judge you, people will talk about you. So not getting into that much, but yes, because of these reasons, it is ought to happen. And if you're still thinking that you're surviving, get into the tips which I'm going to share right now, and which can make you, kind of feel good about you. Eat well, take a small breaks. It's okay to take a break even if you're working. I'm not talking about a holiday at the moment because it's lockdown and traveling is a strict no. But yes, take small breaks. Keep in touch with your competitors. Keep in touch with all the other businesses that are reviving post this crisis, and see how are they reviving. Even if you sit online, you will get to understand the strategies. Have a strategic consultant for yourself. Do not think that everything can be managed. It's okay to outsource. It is okay to sometimes seek help. So it's good to be in a revival mode rather than in the survival mode. And I always also share few things, because why this happens, why this problem of survival and revival happens, because there are certain things which entrepreneurs face it each day.
Yeah, that's true. And then what was your observation when you were, up looking for all this? Why do you think entrepreneurs actually face this? Because some of them even have savings, some of them even understand strategies, but still there was so much fear and so much panic that, there is some analysis that must have happened as to why this is happening with entrepreneurs. Why are they so let down, and why are they so lost? Why do you think was it like that?
Yes. The first is stress because they have been working. When there was a sense of uncertainty been seen, Jaya, automatically they got into a very stressful situation, right? Many of them were sleep deprived, undernourished, or finances were constrained, because all of a sudden investors, if they were in startups, investors started asking, right? So there are a lot of issues associated with it. Also, I could see that there's an illusion of certain things that is the illusion in for an entrepreneur that I can manage everything. So even if they were not able to manage to cut down on the costings, they started managing everything, and where they started compromising on the quality as well. This one thing, they tend to they go into a social isolation all of a sudden. So while this crisis happened and while it was happening, they started concentrating more on the business. It's okay to concentrate more on the business, but they started getting aloof from other things. So when there are no other interactions happening, what happens is the networking is stopped, and when the networking is stopped, it's automatically tends to hamper your mental wellness. Okay.
Totally.
Again, when this started happening, many entrepreneurs started believing that would they be able to give correct goals that has been given by the stakeholders, or are they competent enough to revive back, or are they competent enough to talk to and give their financial plans in the monthly financial plan to the stakeholders. So in doing all this stuff, they started getting into that impression management, as I mentioned before as well. So they started getting conscious about everything, and that too much of consciousness tend to lead them to a lot of stress, which was actually seen. Again, they failed to seek help. Many of them did not ask for help about everything. Even if they're self-funded, I understand that finances might dip, but it's okay to ask for help from people, right? I also saw that while the people were talking to me, I saw that the empathy, the risk-taking, the risk-taking, the trait which they have had, or dealing with the crisis, were all of a sudden kind of the graphs were going down all of a sudden, because there was sort of uh, insecurity that prevailed and that took over all their perfectionisms.
Yes.
Also, all of a sudden they felt that they are no worth, so their confidence, their worth tend to kind of going very negative. They started doubting their own self because of this crisis. This was some of the outcomes which I got to know while I was talking to people, while the people approached, while I was hand-holding few women entrepreneurs. This was something which was prominently been discussed.
Yes, I think it was more like a fear of the unknown, because the times were so uncertain. We were not able to understand what is going to come next. Will ever we see a better morning, or it's now going to all doom? So that
I would
fear,
also, yeah, and I would also say the fear was probably the social media, or the news and all,
yes,
which had previously COVID, they had given a sense of, the TV serials and all, they gave a sense of a steep rise when you're a business person. And
yes,
then again, a lockdown happened, you are in the world of startup, and this lockdown happens. You tend to just get back from a fairyland, and you are
absolutely,
on the ground, and you tend to understand what's happening, and you don't know. So yes,
absolutely.
there was a sense of insecurity prevalent in everybody. I would say all entrepreneurs, whether it's a startup, somebody who has been seasoned businessman, I have seen
Yes.
them even struggling with finances.
Yes, yes, I totally agree. So, what do you think an entrepreneur should do? What will your advice be to an entrepreneur? The kind of mindset that could help them now come into the revival and the growth mode.
Wow. Okay. So the first thing, few tips which I would like to share with them. Okay. This is the scenario, and everybody is trying to deal with it. So how better you can make is all up to you as a person. First thing, have few techniques easy, which is easily available for you, and you can do it within your four walls for your mental health and for your physical health, right? Second thing I would suggest is approach somebody whom you can talk, whom you can just discuss out A to Z of the difficulties you are facing. Have healthy food. Be grateful of what you have. You tend to, in all this insecurities that has happened, what I have seen is people tend to be going negative with the things what they possess also. So be grateful of the things you have. Second thing, every day start doing your journaling. Probably when you write, you get to understand your emotions, when you write, what happens is that you tend to understand your shortcomings much better. So write it down, because whenever you are writing, you write as a third person and you don't write it as your own self. So that gives you a very different perspective. Fourth, tweak a little. I have tweaked things. I am a businesswoman myself. I'm an entrepreneur. I have tweaked things in my journey post this COVID. And I have launched, in fact, 3 new products, successfully launched, made good market, it's established now in this COVID times only. So if I can do it, you can do it as well. It's just a matter of tweaking it little and making it digitally, which is the new normal at the present. Sixth, love yourself. When you get up in the morning, this is the scenario that everybody is facing it, right? You are no different. Start loving yourself. It's not that it's easy for me to say. It's something which we have done it. We are preaching it, and I have seen a lot of success stories because of it. What you can do is simplest way: when you get up in the morning, just hug yourself. When you hug yourself, you tend to connect with your mind. There's a mind-body connect happening, and automatically you are sending a signal to your mind that, hey, I'm there for you when you need. And it's a strong support. You give it to your own self. Give a hug to yourself. And the last and not the least, whenever you feel that you are stressed, whenever you feel that something is not correct, remember a donkey and a dog. What happens when you see a donkey or a dog? What happens when they are hit by a car or somebody pushes? They lie down on the road. They are fallen down on the amidst all the dust. What they do when they get up, they just tend to shake their bodies. They shed off. Every day, put on a music and just shed off. You will feel good, and you will be in here and now. It's very important in this scenario to be in here and now. So don't think about the past. Don't think about the future. Be in here and now, and you will see there's a lot of creativity coming up. A lot of, you tend to understand your own self, and you tend to get back to your own confidence, which you might have lost for this 2 months, and you will feel good. And then start working, start tweaking, and start restructuring and reviving the things which you have just lost or probably पीछे छोड़ दिया था आप लोगों ने.
Wow. Thank you so much, Riddhi. Thank you for that great insight that you gave, especially about hugging yourself. I've never tried this, so I tried a lot of things. I think, guys, let's try it. How does it feel? Let's do it and see. Come on.
I do it always. You feel so good.
Okay, I've never tried this. So that being that, and the shedding off, so Dance Basanti is going to be my program after this program, right? And I hope everybody gets into the group.
So the easiest way, if you don't have anything, you can just shake off, You can just shake off your body. And that gets you in your end now.
I'm sure. Thank you so much. That has already charged us up. And moving on now to Alok. And now we are going to have some more really great insights, which are going to, I think, be life-changing. Let's see. Whose ever life changes, please write to me so I know how many lives have changed.
Even me, please. Put me in the CC. I said put me in the CC.
Yeah, we can mark a copy to him and Riddhi too.
Surely.
So Alok, since we spoke so much about, a lot of mental illness that is seen in entrepreneurs, and, people talk so much about mental health, mental illness, depression, uncertainty. I first of all want to understand from you, what does mental wellness mean? A mentally well person is who?
Right. So first of all, Riddhi, thank you very much for such an enlightening input. So, Jaya, I would like to, first say that whatever you are doing, whosoever you are, right? Whether you are an entrepreneur, whether you are a businessman or a professional or working for an organization at whatever hierarchical level, doesn't matter. Whatever you are doing, this is for all the participants who are here and listening to us. This is for all of you. And I want you to self-introspect and self-reflect a little. There are 3 things that really matters to us. Being an entrepreneur, being a businessman, being in a corporate job, There are three things that really matter to us. Now, so that we can understand this well and hold on to it and remember it, I've put it into 3 Ps, right? If you have your notepads and pen, you can just write it down. The first P is productivity. We all need to be productive because that is what matters at the end of the day, and that is what we need to bring on the table, productivity. We have to bring out some kind of output in whatever we are doing. Number 2 is performance. We have to perform. Whatever the scenario is, whatever you are working in, whatever you are engaged in, performance is what really matters. Performance is what really counts, and performance is what will tell you how you are moving and in what direction you are moving. So first being productivity, second being performance, and third being persistence. You have to be persistent. It really doesn't matter how many times you fall, but it all matters is how many times you bounce back, how many times you get up, because that's what will tell you what kind of person you are mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. So productivity, performance, and persistence. And Jaya, the thing is, when it comes to these 3 Ps, there is one more thing which binds all the three, and that is consistency. We need to be consistent. When it comes to productivity, we need to be consistent. When it comes to performance, we need to be consistent. When it comes to persistence, we need to be consistent. Now, the irony of the situation is that we are expected to be, if you're working for someone, if you're in an organization, if you have stakeholders, you are expected to be consistent in an inconsistent environment. If you are an entrepreneur, this is what you expect from your own self, that you have to be consistent in an inconsistent environment. And this is an irony. Why I'm saying inconsistent? Because we are operating in such an environment where things are not consistent, right? There's a lot of ambiguity out there. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. The best case is COVID-19. We all know what we have gone through, and we are still not sure what's going to happen tomorrow. And even if we try to delete the entire COVID-19 episodes from our life, we still had our own ups and downs. We still had our own push and pull. We still had our own barriers and problems, because life is not a straight line. It's a curve. We have our ups and downs, and that's what defines life. Right? So that's why fitness is very much important. And when we talk about fitness, I'm talking about mental, emotional, and physical fitness. Now, the problem here is, it's an unfortunate thing that whenever we talk about fitness or health, in my seminars and my programs, whenever I ask people what is the first thing that impulsively comes to their mind when we talk about fitness or health, the things that I get to hear is about, eating right, going for a jog, or stretching, yoga, pranayam, pilates, etc. Now, all this is important. I'm not saying this is not important. All this is important. But if you look at the entire health gamut, 85 to 90% of the health gamut is all about emotional and mental fitness. The remaining 10 to 15% is about physical fitness. But unfortunately, we are just looking and controlling the physical fitness part of it because it's more of fancy stuff, I think so. And we tend to turn a blind eye towards mental and emotional fitness. Mental fitness is required, especially for the entrepreneurs. Mental fitness is required because by mental fitness and mental wellness and mental well-being, you'll be able to think right. You'll be able to be in your senses. You'll be able to maintain a calm. You'll be able to think out of the box. You'll be able to be creative, and you'll be able to hold on to yourself in difficult times. When it comes to physical fitness, of course, it is again important because whatever you have planned, you have to put it into action. So mental and physical fitness both are important. Physiology and psychology are highly interrelated, interconnected, and interdependent. हम जब शारीरिक स्वास्थ्य की बात करते हैं, मानसिक स्वास्थ्य की बात करते हैं, हमारा मन और हमारा शरीर वो एक ही सिक्के के दोनों पहलू है, एक ही सिक्के के दो पहलू है. मैं हमेशा मेरे पार्टिसिपेंट्स को ये कहता हूं कि अगर मन स्वस्थ होगा तो तन तंदुरुस्त होगा, और तन तंदुरुस्त होगा तो जीवन जबरदस्त होगा. तो मन और तन दोनों को हमें एक साथ लेके चलना. We have to take our mind and our body together. We have to look after both of them. Now, coming to your question, what is mental fitness and what is mental wellness? Now, Jia, the thing is, mental wellness is basically a state of mind. It's a state of mind wherein you are able to take the right kind of actions, wherein you are able to be in your elements, wherein you are able to be calm, wherein you are able to look at the positive side of the situation, wherein you are able to hold on to your senses, and you're able to align yourself mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually, despite of what kind of problems you are facing, despite of what problems you are in, despite of what you are dealing with. When you are able to bring out and breed some kind of positivity in any kind of negative situation, that's when you are called to be mentally and emotionally fit and well person. Now, Many times you must have observed that we are not able to come out of our negative thinking. We get into the negative thought spiral and we lose our time. Many times it happens we are into our negative emotional zone. We are not able to come out of it, and days passes, right? This means that we are not able to handle certain mental and emotional resources. Now, if you want to get into the mental and emotional wellness zone, it is really important for us that we need to handle our mental and emotional resources well. If we are able to handle our mental and emotional resources well, we'll be able to get into the mental and wellness zone, right? Now, what do I really mean by mental and emotional resources? Our thoughts, our emotions, our experiences, our preconceived notions, our past experiences and belief systems, all this, they consist of our mental and emotional resources. When we start holding them right, when we start holding them and managing them in the right manner, then we'll be able to get into the mental wellness field. Now, as I told you, many times we're not able to hold on to positive thoughts. We get into the negative spiral. Many times we get into the negative emotional zone. That means that we are not able to handle and manage our mental and emotional resources. Now, the thing is, there's a universal law. I want all of you to understand this. There's a universal law. If you want to handle and manage anything in your life, the first thing, the prerequisite to handling and managing anything in your life is awareness. You have to be aware of something, only then you will be able to handle that particular thing. Whether it is a thing, whether it is your emotion, whether it is your thought, whether it is a process, whether it is a system, whether it is a situation, whether it is some kind of person or people in your life. If you are aware of them, even if it is about your shortcoming, when you are aware about your shortcoming, only then you will be able to work on them. So awareness is something which is very much important, and that's where I bring in mindfulness, because mindfulness is a type of awareness. We become aware of certain things in a particular way so that we are able to handle them. Now, what happens when we become mindful of something? What happens when we become aware of something? When we become aware of something, that's when we bring and breed in a lot of clarity about that particular thing. And when we have clarity, that's when we get to know about our choices, what kind of choices we have. And when we are aware and mindful about our choices, that's when we tend to make the right choice. And
Right.
let me tell you, successful life is nothing but it's a series of successful choices. When you start making right choices in your life, that's when you become successful. And you will only be able to make the right choice when you are aware about the options that you have. And awareness is super important. So whether you want to make something right in terms of your finances, you need to be first aware of where you stand as of now. If you want to handle and manage your business well, being an entrepreneur, that's the first and most important thing. If you want to handle and manage your business well, first you have to become aware of what exactly is happening to your business right now. For that matter, if you want to handle and manage your children well, you need to first become aware of them, their habits, and what they're going through. Only then you'll be able to manage them. Now, Riddhi would connect with me on this very well, that as she's a child psychologist, in order to handle and manage and to help them, first thing is she has to become aware of what is it that they're going through. Only with that awareness comes some kind of clarity. Only with that clarity, there are certain options which open up. And only by opening up that option, she will be able to make the right choice, which will give that child the right kind of result. So as I told you that I want people to get with some kind of value out of this session. So I would like to give a kind of framework to all of you. It can really help if you start implementing and integrating this framework in your various aspects of your life, whether your personal life, your social life, your work life, your connections, your work, your business, any aspect of your life. You would really be able to revive and take control of the situations and get into the mental wellness zone. So I want all of you, I call this model as the multi-level mindfulness model. Multi-level mindfulness model. So guys, whosoever are listening to us right now, I want all of you to tell this to yourself. In me, the first thing is in me. Number two is with me. And number three is around me. Once more, in me, with me, around me. In me, with me, around me. This is like your mantra, this is what has to be with you always. What do I really mean by in me, with me, and around me? I have to, this is what you're telling to yourself. I have to be mindful about things which are happening in me. I have to be mindful of the things which are happening with me. I have to be mindful about the things which are happening around me. This is super important formula, and we have got some amazing results. Over a period of time, we keep on learning from our participants as well. We do a lot of research, and then we put this in implementation, and then we get some kind of result. That's when we come out with a process or a framework, and then we make it public. So this is something which I'm taking from my paid courses. I wanted to have some kind of really value-driven asset over here. That's why I'm putting this across. So guys, please don't take this lightly. Please take it up, and with practice, because practice makes a man perfect. The more you sweat during the time of peace, the less you bleed during the time of war. So you have to keep on practicing it, right? You cannot keep on weaving your parachute when you jump off the plane. You need to have your parachute ready. So in me, with me, and around me, these are the three things. I have to become mindful of the things which are happening in me. I have to become mindful of the things which are happening with me. And I have to become mindful of the things which are happening around me. Now, let us break this down. What do I really mean by things which are happening in me? Our thoughts and our emotions are something which is happening in us. No one can see that, only we are aware about it. Our thoughts and our emotions. So what you can do is you can write down in me, with me, and around me. And inside in me, you can write thoughts and emotions, right? Now with me is like any kind of interaction, a relationship or an interaction or an incident that has taken place with you, where you are the epicenter of that incident, right? So that is what is happening with you. You are directly getting affected with that. And around me means any kind of things which are happening around you. It can be any incident, it can be any situation that has taken place, and you are a part of it. You are not directly affected by that, but somehow indirectly you are affected by that. The best example is COVID-19. And if you are directly affected, or maybe some of your loved one was tested positive, or something like that, then it comes in the second zone, wherein something which is, I have to become mindful of something which is happening with me, because you are directly the epicenter of it, right? And if, unfortunately, if you had some kind of experiences, negative experiences during this, then it is in me, right? Because then you go into the negative thought spiral and your negative emotional spiral. So in me, with me, and around me. Now, what you have to do is, every day you have to make this practice that take a mindful break. Because it is important to take a mindful break. We take a tea break, right? We take a nap break, a quick power nap. So you have to make a practice. You have to train your brain. We have to train our brain, because whenever we practice mindfulness, when we talk about mindfulness, it is the process of being in this moment, of doing something, as Riddhi rightly said, here and now. We have to be in the here and now. We have to see things as they are in this very moment. So just take a break and just try to self-introspect and self-reflect a little in terms of what's going in me. As of now, what is it that I'm thinking? What is it that I'm feeling? Once you become aware of your thoughts, once you become aware of your feelings, as I said, when you become aware of something, that's when you get more clarity. Because many a times we are not even aware of our thoughts. Many a times we are not even aware of what we are going through. When someone comes and tells us that, hey, what's wrong? Is everything right? And that's when we start looking inwards and we say that, oh yes, I'm not feeling good. And this has been happening from days or weeks or months. We don't even know that. So in me, you have to give some kind of self-reflection of what's going inside you in terms of your thoughts and emotions. Number two, whenever you get into some kind of argument or something is not going on in terms of your relationships or connection in office, home, personal, it can be anything. Try to self-reflect on what's happening with you. Because many a times we are very much biased in terms of our actions. So you need to see whether, seriously, am I wrong? Did I do something wrong? You have to get into an objective viewpoint. You know, as Riddhi rightly said, that many a times it happens that we just see it from our own perspective. But when you stand out, that's when you start looking at things. Journaling, what she mentioned, when you start doing journaling, you write it from the third person point of view. That's when you are bringing objective point of view into the play, not subjective, but objective. So that's when you start thinking of what's going wrong in my relationship and where I am wrong. That will bring in a lot of clarity. And when we talk about around me, sorry. So let's take the COVID-19 example. See, what's happening is, you know, we are living in this information age, and information is currency, and that's the reason everyone will keep on bombarding a lot of information. We are living in this attention economy. We have limited attention, and we have to be miser in terms of spending our attention. But that's not the case. We keep on mindlessly splurging it out. And this is what has happened, because TRP works. And the thing is, everyone wants to have their TRPs up. And also in terms of social media engagement, people would keep on crumbling the information and try to make it more worst so that they get our attention. But now we have to be aware that what is really happening around me in terms of COVID-19. Is it really bad the way it is shown? are we over exaggerating? We should not overestimate or underestimate the situation. Start looking things as they are, not better than what they are, not worse than what they are. If we start looking at things better than what they are, we'll become careless. If we start looking at things worse than what they are, then we'll become stressed. So neither of these things are good. So start looking at things as they are. So I have to be mindful of the things which are happening around me. So by that, what I mean is, what is really happening? Start looking at the actual sources, the right kind of knowledge, what is actually happening, not what people are saying, because many a times what happens is we react to the things how we see them and not how actually they are. We react to our own perception, but not the actual, the actual nature of thing, but our own interpretation or perception of those things. So in me, with me, and around me can be your mantra for everyone, especially entrepreneurs, because I'm an entrepreneur. I know that what entrepreneurs go through, but it is all upon how do you manage your current state of mind, how you become aware of it, and with awareness you can open up various options, and then you can make the right choice so that you can have a successful way forward. I guess that would help.
Really helps. So there were so many questions in my mind about mindfulness, because I keep hearing mindful coach and mindfulness, and today I actually got the clarity as to what exactly it is, and the kind of framework that you have helped us with. I think that's going to be really helpful in formulating our future journey. Now, having understood all of this, again, I will pose the same question to you as I did to Riddhi, that entrepreneurs are still struggling with uncertainty, and survival has become like a challenge for them. And here we want to talk about revival. So, if I talk about survival versus revival, what is your take on that? What do you suggest should be a person's state of mind?
So, Jaya, I would not take this in a versus scenario. I would rather say that you have to begin with survival and then you have to go on revival, because you cannot revive until and unless you don't survive. If you are not able to survive, how will you revive? Right? So the priority here should be to survive, because there's so many businesses. The nature of the businesses were physical. The nature of the businesses wherein they were dependent on so many logistical functions, on a lot of transportation. They have gone completely, they have collapsed, right? So at this moment of time, revival will become difficult, because, then there are new systems to bring in, there's new investment to make, and there are different ways and frameworks and systems to find. So first you need to survive. When you are able to survive, so I can give an analogy that when you are in a your vehicle is in a reverse gear, you don't directly go to the fourth gear, right? When you are in the reverse gear, you first come to neutral, and from neutral you start 1, 2, 3, and 4. From reverse, you directly cannot go to 4. That's not possible. Similarly, in our entrepreneurial vehicle life, what we have to do is, when we are hit back, when there is a speed breaker which has come in our life, of course, we will go down, our speeds will lower. Many times, even we have to go in reverse. So after reverse, you have to come to neutral. By neutral, what I mean is survival. You need to first survive in terms of just do a hygiene check in terms of, is everything in place? If things are not in place, you start replacing with something similar looking systems. And then you start to think about how can I scale it up, right? So just trying to pull this forward, I'll try to be in the same context. So, entrepreneurs who really are looking at how can I take my things, how can I maintain my things, or how can I move forward in a positive direction? There are two things that you really need to look into. Number one is your mindset, and number two is your skill set. Mindset is very much important because, as Riddhi said, that there are a lot of insecurities and uncertainties, and people get panic, and they're not able to take right decisions, right? So, this is all to do with our biology. It has all to do with our brain. Our brain is a high maintenance organ. Our brain is basically it's 2% of the overall body mass index, but it consumes 20% of the overall body energy. That's the reason it is very high maintenance and it cannot take risks. So that's the reason it always puts us on an autopilot system, so that we don't consume much energy. We keep on doing the same things and less energy is required. But if you keep on doing the same things over and over again, you will not be able to come up with new solutions. You'll not be able to be creative. You will face the same things over and over again, right? So here, there was a lot of panic, but there are two things. My, mindset and skill set. So mindset is very much important, so that you hold on to yourself and you don't collapse. And when it comes to skill set, so mindset, mindfulness comes into picture in me, with me, around me. These are the three things that will take care of your mindset. When it comes to skill set, there are again two things that all the entrepreneurs should look into. Number one is, whatever is going in my business right now, my business must have affected badly or a little bit or maybe completely. So what is it that I can do in the current structure so that my boat sails? Because that's where minimum investment will be required, because you have the basic structure ready, you have the basic systems ready, you have the knowledge ready, you have the frameworks ready. Only thing is, there's some kind of tweak, as Riddhi again rightly said, tweaking is important. So whatever you have, you just have to see what kind of tweaks can I bring so that my current model adapts to the new normal. My current model adapts to the post-COVID situation, because putting in a lot of investment again and starting from scratch cannot be possible. It cannot be practical. So the first thing is, look into your current system and try to see how can you make certain tweaks so that it can adapt to the new normal. And once you do that, at the same time, the plan B should be back of your mind. You should start working on a new plan in terms of how can I launch a new business, or maybe how can I come up with new opportunities? Because due to COVID, there's a lot of buyer behavioral changes that have come into place. Now, people are not spending in the same manner. People are not browsing in the internet for the same products, because earlier luxury was the priority for many of them. Now it is the essential thing. Minimalism is coming into picture. So the overall buyer behavior is changing. So what I would like to tell all the entrepreneurs is, number one, you see first, put your plan A in place. Whatever frameworks you have, whatever things, whatever assets you have already in place, you have to refurbish them and use them according to the new normal. Secondly, at the same time, at the back of your mind, you have to start working on your blueprints for something new, keeping the new statistics into place. See, now we have Google, we have so much of information available. You can do some kind of research, some kind of A/B testing in terms of understanding what is it that people are literally looking at right now. What is it that, as Riddhi said, that there are certain businesses that she launched and she is quite successful in terms of establishing them. So similarly, what everyone can do is, at this moment of time, try to see what is in demand. What is in demand? Because as the scenario changes, because the money flow has also reduced, so accordingly the spending capacity has also reduced, but there are certain essentials which people will still require. So now start channelizing your stuff into that direction. And also one more thing, digital has been there in the picture, but the focus was not on digital. But now the entire focus is on digital. So now
Right.
even you have to break your comfort zone. Many times, people think that, no, that's not my cup of tea. I'm not made for that. But nothing was your cup of tea. You were not made for anything. But that's how you learned. When you were born, you were not given a label or a tag that you are born to do this business. Of course not. You learned. And if you failed, you again got up, you tried things in different places, and that's how you became successful. So consider this as your new normal, consider this as your scratch start, and that's how you can progress successfully.
Wow. So yeah, so that really helps. And I think as an entrepreneur, it's extremely important to understand the importance of decision making, understand the importance of adapting to change. Because, this is COVID and tomorrow it will be something else. Change is going to be persistent and it will keep happening. And like you rightly said, it's all about the choices that we are making. So having the, buffet ready of choices of what could be the right kind of choice for me should always be there. So that really gives us brilliant learnings. Thank you so much, Alok.
So in
And
fact, Jaya, you know what? I would like to share my current ongoing example so that people will be able to relate with how exactly you can implement it. Because many times,
Sure.
what happens is sitting on the other side of the screen, people might think that giving theories is so very simple. But when you get into that situation, it becomes difficult. So guys, let me give you this example. Now, as I told you that I'm a mindfulness coach, I'm into mental wellness coaching, and we work with organizations across the country, nationally and internationally. And my schedule had a lot of traveling, right? Now, just imagine when my schedule has a lot of traveling and we give classroom training. Now, having COVID situation where traveling is banned, where quarantine is there, and you're not able to move, how will you do your programs? So now it all depends on how you focus and what side of the coin you see, whether you see the glass half full or half empty. Now, this is the time when we started looking at how can we take our physical modules online and delivering things online. At the same time, because as I told you, mindset and skill set, and in skill set you have plan A and plan B. So as I told you about plan A, where you have your infrastructure ready, so we of course we have our infrastructure ready. We have our knowledge sheets ready, we have all the programs and frameworks ready. What we had to do is just shift the entire thing from the physical platform to the digital platform, to the virtual platform, and we just did that. And see, of course, it takes a little bit of effort. It is difficult. You have to learn new things, you have to learn new skills, you have to manage, you have to adapt. But if you are an entrepreneur, if you have chosen this journey, don't think it to be easy, because entrepreneurial journey is not about it's not about some kind of your own solopreneur or whatever it is. You have to see that it has a lot of thorny beds that you have to work on, and only then you'll be able to have the kind of fruits that you're looking at. It's all about investment, and then comes your return. You have to be ready for that. So as of now, this is how we practically implemented that thing. Whatever was there on the physical aspect, we were running on an 80-20 model where 80% was all of physical training, 20 was digital. Now it's almost the reverse. We are 70% digital and 30% physical. And physical is not that much, it will revive, but it's more on digital. And at the same time, I'm also working on plan B, as I rightly said, skill set. Plan B should be somewhere you look at the way ahead in terms of how you can dominate the space by coming up with new technological advancements and new frameworks. Yeah, Jay.
Uh, yeah. So, Jaya, can I add a bit?
Of course.
Yeah, yeah. So beautifully said, Alok. This is exactly what I experienced in this COVID. And when I say that I introduced three new products, right? That's exactly what I did it, because everything, while you talk about my journey, it's everything in a corporate space or going to the office and dealing with children or women or conducting sessions. It's everything offline. And from offline immediately to shift to online, it's not easy, correct? I also understand it's not easy, but that was the need of an hour. And that's where it was kind of survival, revival, both, and we did it, right? So that's exactly what I meant to, and so beautifully put up by Alok is that's exactly, I guess we both mean to, uh, intend to share with everybody is that this is the scenario. It has been difficult. How you tweak and how you relaunch it or how you start reworking on it, it's all up to you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that, Riddhi.
Thank you,
And
Riddhi.
whatever said and done, everybody I'm sure has tried to innovate something or the other. My own journey has been similar, where again I have been into the corporate world and doing a lot of trainings and stuff like that. Speaking is everything. Speaking gigs and everything just shut down. And then of course I shifted digitally. But three of us having similar journey, I would also like to share a woman's journey in our society. So currently, so film industry is also going through a lot of turmoil at this point in time, and especially the TV industry is kind of crashed and people are really in a mess. Okay, so no matter that they are celebrities or whatever, but today there is an issue. So this lady has actually started preparing snacks at home, and she has kind of become famous in our society, and for us it is a blessing that we don't have to go out and buy food, and she has started this as a business. So people have been so creative. They have changed their field. They have adapted, and they have literally embraced, like you said, embrace yourself. they have embraced whatever has come. So I'm so proud of those people who have done it, and I'm also wanting to encourage those people who are still thinking and who have not taken action. It's okay, it's still not late, there is still scope. You start today and at least somewhere you will reach. That is my promise to you. So if somebody has not started, go for it. If you have started and you're feeling stuck, push yourself out of it. Some way will be definitely waiting for you out there. And if you're doing well, then yes, I'm proud of you. So in all these scenarios, but yes, before we would wind up, I want Alok that today you have to, I will not let you go without it. So nobody can save you since you're here. If you can just do a small session with us of meditation that you're
Surely.
usually doing with
Surely.
corporates also.
So, as you said, as you just urged to people that you should start if you haven't started yet. And exactly, because fear is what holds us up. Fear is something which is virtual. It still holds us up. And let me tell you, fun lies beyond fear, right? Fun comes after fear, even in dictionary.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right. So basically, what process we are talking about right now? It's a quick meditation process. Nothing spiritual about it. This is something that we are doing for our body, right? It's all scientific, because when we get into this awareness zone, when we get into the mindful awareness zone, awareness of things which are happening in me, with me, and around me, that's when there are a lot of biochemistry changes and biochemical changes which are happening in our body. There are certain hormones, like when we get into stress, adrenaline, noradrenaline, cortisol. These are the hormones that are released in our body. But we also have some good amount of good kind of hormones, right? I call it as a devil's cocktail and an angel's cocktail. So when you get into this zone, that's when you start oozing out angel's cocktail. So you have dopamine and serotonin and melatonin and endorphins. There's so many things which start oozing out of your body, and you get into that relaxation mode. As I told you about, we had done certain tests in terms of the brain waves. So, we have different kinds of brain waves: beta, alpha, theta, and delta. Now, when we get into this process, we start descending, we start cascading into the theta brainwave state. Generally, we are in beta, which is called as the monkey mind. We keep on hopping, we keep on reminiscing about the past or anticipating about the future. But when you start getting into this process, and I would urge you, all of you, to do this process for at least 1 minute or 2 minutes every day, and you will see how charged up you are, the kind of energy that moves and cascades across your body. It's phenomenal. So let's do this right now. And Jay, I'll put some kind of music in the background, and just let me know if the music is fine and if my voice is also fine. All right. So I have started the music. Just let me know if you are able to hear the music.
We can hear it. It's a bit slow, but the volume can be increased a little.
Is it good now?
Yes, good.
Is it
It's a
good now?
serene.
Yes, yes. But it should not disturb my voice. Is it
It's
okay
not.
now?
It's not. It's a perfect combination.
It's a perfect combination. All right.
Riddhi, would you
All right.
agree?
Perfect.
Yes.
Riddhi, is it fine? All right.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
great. That's
perfect.
great. So, guys, I just want all of you to be comfortable, as comfortable as you can. And I'll try to do this in a dual language, Hindi and English, so that people can understand, most of them. Right? Full breath in and full breath out. Make yourself comfortable. This is a scientific process where we are aligning our mind, our body, and our senses. Make yourself comfortable, because your body comfort is very much important. सीधे बैठे बिल्कुल आराम से, पूरी सांस लें, पूरी सांस निकालें. Full breath in and full breath out. Relax your body. शरीर को बिल्कुल ढीला छोड़ दो. You don't have to hold on your body. Relax your muscles, every muscle, right from the top to the bottom and bottom to top. All the muscles relaxed. Full breath in and full breath out. Place your arms relaxed on your sides and your palms on your knees. In a relaxed position, आराम से बैठे. Relax your spine and take 5 deep breaths. Full breath in and full breath out. And remember, when you breathe in, your stomach expands and not the chest. Let your stomach expand and contract. Breathe from the diaphragm, not the chest. Full breath in and full breath out. पूरी सांस लें और पूरी सांस निकालें. Whichever body part I name, I want you to take your awareness to that body part, become mindful of that body part. And as you become mindful of that body part completely relaxes. As soon as you become aware, that body part completely relaxes. Become aware of your head. अपने सर के प्रति सजग हो जाएं. Become aware of your head. Forehead. Eyes. Nose. Lips. Keep on breathing, slow, deep and long. गहरी और धीमी सांसें लेते रहें. Neck. Become aware of your neck. Shoulders. Arms, left arm, right arm, both the arms. Back. Become aware of your back. And as you keep on becoming aware of these body parts, they are relaxing. They are getting into the deeper levels of relaxation. Lower back. Become aware of your lower back. Stomach. Full breath in and full breath out. Become aware of your stomach. Hips. Become aware of your hips. Reproductive organs. Become aware of your reproductive organs. Thighs. Awareness towards your thighs. Knees. अपने घुटनों के प्रति सजग हो जाएं. Knees. Calves. Become aware of your ankles. Full breath in and full breath out. Release and relax. Relax your body. Become aware of your feet, heels and feet. पूरी सांस लें, पूरी सांस निकालें. पूरे शरीर के प्रति सजग हो जाएं. ऊपर से लेके नीचे तक, नीचे से लेके ऊपर. Run your awareness right from the feet to the top of your head quickly. And from the top of your head to your feet again. When I say 1, inhale, and when I say 2, exhale. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. When I say 1, inhale. When I say 2, hold your breath. When I say 3, exhale. 1, inhale. 2, hold your breath. And 3, exhale. 1, 2, 3, exhale. 1, 2, hold. And 3, exhale. 1, 2, and 3, exhale. And relax. Full breath in and full breath out. Command your mind and body to relax completely. अपने मन और अपने शरीर को आज्ञा दें कि बिल्कुल शांत हो जाए. Command your mind, command your body. Command every organ, every muscle, every tissue to relax completely. And as you keep on commanding, you will feel, you will sense, you will observe yourself cascading into the deeper levels of relaxation. Full breath in and full breath out. With the next out breath, loosen your body. Just leave each and every organ. Just try to become aware if there is any kind of sensation, stress or anxiety in any part of your body. You will get to know this when you become aware of your body. And if you find any kind of uneasiness, sensation, irritation, just command that organ to release and relax. Check your shoulders, your neck, your stomach. If you find any kind of irritation, any kind of anxiety, fear, stress lying there, you can command that organ to release and relax. I want you to experience this moment. I want you to experience the peace that is unfolding inside you. With every breath, you're getting into the deeper levels of your subconscious. I want you to experience this travel of yours from the external to the internal. You are relaxed, serene, and tranquil. Full breath in and full breath out. I want you to mentally repeat this with me. I'm super confident mentally, emotionally, and physically. Tell this to yourself. I'm super confident mentally, emotionally, and physically. Full breath in and full breath out. I'm super confident mentally, emotionally, and physically. Bring a smile on your face. I'm super confident mentally, emotionally, and physically. An attitude of gratitude, ek dhanyavad ka bhav laye for this moment. Bring a feeling of gratitude for this moment. Ek dhanyavad ka bhav laye for your body. Bring a feeling of gratitude for your body. Bring a feeling of gratitude for your mind. Bring a feeling of gratitude for this online platform because of which this is possible. Be grateful for everything that is happening in your life right now. I'm grateful. Repeat this with me. I'm grateful for every push and pull in my life. I'm grateful for every push and pull in my life. Full breath in and full breath out. With a smile on your face. I want you to slowly move your fingers, stretch your arms, and with a smile, whenever you feel like, you may slowly open your eyes. There is no hurry. Take your time. There is no hurry at all. Take your time. And whenever you are ready, you can open your eyes with a smile.
Wow.
This was beautiful.
It was beautiful, yeah.
Thank you very much.
I mean, now after this, I don't want to really talk.
The thing is, we generally don't speak a lot after this because, we have been into a zone and there are various chemical changes which are taking place in us right now. And even mentally, we have gone into a different zone where we are emitting theta waves. Many of them must have even slept because this is where they go into that deeper zone. So let's be in this zone and try to maintain this so that we can bring in this, keep this serenity and tranquility within us. I hope all of the viewers, they enjoyed this session. This was just a sneak peek into whatever we do.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much, Alok. I cannot tell you how indebted I am to you. And I'm sure people who are still with us till the end would also have a similar feedback. I would be very happy if you could put down in the comments how this has helped you and whether you were able to get and revive that state of mind that, we were expecting. If right now you're not in the state of mind to talk or write anything, it's perfectly okay. please look out for us and give us your feedback, because it really helps understand that whatever we are doing, is it really of value? Are we adding value to your life or no? And Riddhi and Alok, thank you so much. This has really given me myself so much of a positivity, so much of a. It feels that something has detoxed inside me. It's giving me such a fresh feeling, and I cannot tell you how thankful I am for this. So thank you so much,
My
both of
pleasure.
you. And this
Pleasure, my
message. So I really don't want to talk much and spoil that aura. Let's do this again whenever possible. And thank you everybody for having trusting us with your 1 hour and staying till the end. Uh, Everybody, each one of you, whoever is here today, thank you so much for joining in. Till we meet again. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jaya. Thank you,
you.
Riddhi. Thank you
Thank
very
you,
much.
Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
Bye.